do you have any other experience, stories, whatever, that you can share, whether it was you as a leader and you were learning more great things from other leaders as you were developing as a leader yourself, or things that from your years in the trenches as a leader that you finally learned that you're like, oh yeah, I should really do this and it makes leading a lot easier? Is there anything you want to share there?
Yeah, I think through the years, I really leaned too much into leading with empathy without accountability. So it's obviously super important, whether you're dealing with your paper boy, your wife, your friends, your colleagues, your team, to really lead with empathy, understanding how they feel about something, what they're going through, and just making sure that you take the minute to step back and be very objective to what they're saying and what they're asking for. I found in my career, I went a little too far on the empathy thing, on the empathy side rather, and I wasn't pairing it well with accountability. So making sure that I still held my team accountable to what they were trying to achieve despite what they were going through. And I think there's a very fine line there. And what I learned quickly was showing them that not only was I there to support them and that we're working shoulder to shoulder, but making sure that I understood how I could help them, right? So it was always like, okay, I understand you're going through this, understand you're having this problem with this team or having a little bit of friction or uphill battles with some of those downstream impacts. How can I support you? And really coaching them through that, asking them a lot of thought-provoking questions, because you always want them to come up with the answer so that they feel a little bit more empowered, right? So really taking a coaching perspective, or a coaching approach rather, between that pillar of empathy and that pillar of accountability, because a lot of leaders are like, I don't care, just get it done. And that's way too far accountability side. Other leaders are a little too empathetic. And I was there like, okay, well, maybe we can push these timelines, or maybe I'll go back to finance and ask for a little bit more budget. So it was really about bridging that gap by taking a really proactive coaching approach and asking a lot of thought-provoking questions. Like, a lot of the time I thought I knew what the answer was, so I'd ask them questions to try and get them to derive the answer that I wanted. Because I find when someone comes up with the answer on their own, they own it a little bit more. They take a little bit more accountability, and they're a little bit more inspired to go and drive a little bit further. So I think that has been something that I continue to work on, because I think that coaching piece, whether that's bridging the gap between empathy and accountability, whether that's bridging the gap between a low performer and a high performer, whether that's bridging the gap between a high performer and the next promotion, it's all about coaching, and it's all about developing those people to get to be more effective in that space. Because I find the more you invest in your team, the more time you spend with them. And I'm going to say, I don't care how many meetings you sit in. I don't care how busy you are. You always got to make that time. Some of those coaching sessions take 3 minutes. Let's go grab a coffee. Let's talk. How did this go? What problems are you facing? Like, what if you tried this? What about that? Like, those little moments really empower and build your team and develop them so that those problems start going away, right? So the more time you spend coaching and developing your team, selfishly, the easier it makes it for you as the team leader, and the more gratifying it is to see these people become high performers and get promotions, So I think that was a leadership lesson that, I'm still continuing to try and hone in on and harness, because everyone is busy, right? Like, sometimes there's days where I'll sit in a meeting from 7 a.m. with our team in India all the way to 8 p.m. with our team in the West Coast. So you still got to make that time to have those coaching sessions, whether that's a 3-minute coaching session, whether that's formal, bi-weekly development meetings where you can talk about some of the struggles they're going at, or always just having like an open door. And I know that's kind of a buzzword, open door. We actually didn't have doors in a lot of our offices in our company, but just making sure that you were there to support your team and to build your team and to develop your team and see them flourish. So that's still something, like I said, I'm working on. It sounds very easy in theory, but it is something you got to be very intentional with and really make sure you're making the time for.
Oh yeah, man. Absolutely. Have you seen the movie Inception? Do you know the movie Inception?
Yeah.
I think about like planting ideas in people's heads like Inception, where the entire point of the movie, yeah, if you haven't seen Inception before, they plant dreams deep in the subconscious of this guy. It's like 3 or 4 layers deep or so. I don't know. I can't remember. I got lost somewhere on the way. But the idea being that if you bury it deep enough that they don't know it was your idea, not their idea, and then they feel empowered to do it, right? And I often think about leadership like that if you do it right, because that has been absolutely the case for me, man. That when I first went from being self-employed to being a people leader, as a self-employed guy, I was used to being the guy that did everything, right? I had the idea, I did the idea, I evaluated the idea. And so in the beginning, I would bring my team like a blueprint. I'm like, here's what you got to do, just go do it. And they were miserable. And so even if I was right, where I would debrief after, I was like, yeah, but was I right? And they're like, yeah, but you were kind of a jerk about the way that you did it. And so when I started including them in the brainstorming component of what I was trying to develop, man, like the engagement went way up. And then certainly over time has just like skyrocketed, right? And what you said is entirely true, at least in my experience, that you stop having to solve the same problems for your team when you empower them to solve their own problems, right? I had a shop teacher in high school, and it was a computer shop, and one of the things that he insisted on when we were learning a new Adobe product was I want you, if you have a question about anything, I want you to try everything you can yourself to figure it out. Then I want you to go to like the help bar, and this is like in the mid 2000s, so the help bar was not very useful. He's like, go to the help bar, try to find it yourself, ask one of your friends if they know the answer, Google it, and if after all of those things you still can't figure it out, then you can come to me and I will try to help you. But the lesson that he was teaching us, and I think it's so valuable, is the most important thing I can teach you is how to teach yourself. And that has been something that has stuck with me for years and years, and something that I want to impart to my team, whether it's someone that I am, I'm a direct manager over, or I'm just a business associate or peer of theirs, is that ability to solve your own problems and to have the level of confidence to go after it is so valuable. It's a teach a man to fish, give a man to fish type of situation, right? Like the value of that in the immediate is so beneficial for you, but then beyond that, what you're doing is you are giving someone a tool that they can have long after they're ever working for you, right? And I mean, what a better thing, I can't think of a better thing to do than to, genuinely try to make the world a better place and make someone's life better than it was before, right? That idea of really including your team has been super valuable to me. Do you maybe...
it becomes even more important or beneficial, especially as the problems become more dynamic, because, using your example there, like there's not always a help bar. Google might not even be able to solve it. AI might not even be able to solve it. Like there are some dynamic problems that you really need some thought behind it. And even if your associate or your team member doesn't have a number of avenue or a lot of friends to ask or a lot of colleagues to ask, the fact that they come to you and just be like, okay, this is the problem. This is what I've thought about. This is how I think we can do it. This is how I think we can solve for it. How do you feel about that? Even that takes a lot of that pressure off of you as a leader. But the most important thing is it's really empowered that associate to feel not only feel comfortable and safe to come to you with a problem, but also speed of resolution, right? It just becomes more important as the problems become more dynamic and as the time becomes more limited for those associates to feel more empowered, to feel more engaged, to feel more confident to come to you with those things. So I always love watching when you first have a team member and you start working with them and how they evolve and how they start approaching you with different, either ideas or problems or solutions. It's very gratifying to see that. But again, it also makes your life a lot easier as a leader.